A lot of people felt that I was insensitive, that my remarks, like I said, I could care less, I don't care, and I really don't. Like,
what is it you don't care? You don't care about the victim's statement, or you don't care about the narrative that's followed?
Let me go deep into it then. There is a professional statement that I can make that's sincere. And that's the statement that I actually made. Afrika Bambaataa has to deal with Afrika Bambaataa. The accusations made against him are made against him. They're not made against hip hop. On top of that, nothing that Afrika Bambaataa did within and for hip hop is to be taken away from him because of these accusations. Now, many people felt that that was insensitive. They said, what I should, I guess, join the bandwagon of people that was incriminating Afrika Bambaataa. My issue is that, first of all, we're talking about accusations. That's what we're talking about. Afrika Bambaataa himself says, they're all liars, and this is not the truth. This is not the case. He vehemently disagrees with this. His lawyer has put out statements. They're ready to start suing people. BAM is against this. The other four people, though, they came forward. Nah, this is real. This is true.
Right.
Now we're sitting here with no evidence, no conviction, nothing but accusations.
Right, but one of the things that we have to bear in mind is that I know that you're saying that these allegations are against the individual, not against the culture.
Right.
But it's the culture that actually, if these allegations are true,
yes,
that added to their reticence in coming forward. A hypermasculine culture whereby abuse can be argued away. Well, she's of age, look what she was wearing. And there's also a great deal of ignorance. If there's same-sex abuse, allegations, or whatever, you're saying he's gay.
Right.
Sexual orientation and abuse are often definable solely by the individual.
Right.
What we have to bear in mind is that not everybody comes forward at the time, because we broadly don't know the trauma that's been enacted upon somebody. Wait, I'm with you. I'm a journalist, I know. Right.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so we have to...
Granted.
I think what we have to bear in mind is that there is also the reality that people who matter a great deal and have actually narrated, they've soundtracked our lives. An allegation like that can completely destabilize our perception of who they are.
Why?
Because
they're human.
Yeah, but then so why do you care less?
Because they're human.
So you think to...
They're human.
So if they're human, and isn't part of being human, being humane to those who have the courage to step forward into an enormous arena?
No, these people work for the FBI. This is a whole different thing we're dealing with. When you're talking about Afrika Bambaataa, first of all, you're talking about the person who invented hip hop, not participated in it. There was no hip hop before Afrika Bambaataa. Let's start there. So anyone who has a problem with Afrika Bambaataa should quit hip hop.
What you've got to, I've just got to state to you that you cannot just dismiss.
No dismission. No.
But when you say you could care less, that's exactly how it's.
No. Let me tell you what I can care less about. Accusations and gossip. KRS does not get involved in that. Show me the evidence, and I will definitely have justice done.
But if it's historical, the evidence is very hard to acquire.
Then why say it?
But often because of the culture upon which you'd have to enter to actually confess such a
confession is to a minister and a priest. When you have a leader, when you are out to destroy your own leadership, others that do read and do study and are on the front lines of the revolution itself, like me, you don't take accusations lightly. Now, no, I will say unequivocally right here, right now, I hope for healing, as I wrote in my statement, I hope for healing for everyone involved. First, for those who are accusing Afrika Bambaataa. Accusing. No evidence, no convictions. Okay, but we will at least give you the benefit of the doubt. You made these accusations against Afrika Bambaataa. Okay, no problem. Bam, deal with that.
I just think, for balance, that everything, both perspectives, should be given a respectful acknowledgement.
Not against Afrika Bambaataa. They're not Afrika Bambaataa.
No one's untouchable.
No, yes, you are. We have to learn that. No, we have to learn that. Yeah. No, our leadership has to be untouchable, or they're not leaders. They have to. Here's an example. Right now in America, there's a robust election going on between Trump and Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders just burnt millions of people that were voting for him. Millions, okay? He just sided with Hillary Clinton, okay? Do you see the game that's being played against us? Put us to the side. We have our own little petty differences and this, that, and the other, and so on. Okay. But check out who wants to kill us. Check out who's shooting at us. Check out who's locking us up. You see how they do their leadership? Their leadership rapes people, kills people, does all lies to people, lies to the American public, and they still go, but wait, we could debate their shortcomings, but they still the leader. And this is what black people do not understand. We never understood it, and it's time that at least hip hop understands this. Some of us are infallible. Some of us are going to have to be untouchable, or our entire culture is going to fall. Our culture cannot fall on the accusations of 4 people. That's weak.
The culture's not going to fall on the accusations.
No, it almost has. It almost has, because we don't realize how the FBI and the NSA and the CIA and these people are trying to destroy us. So if you know that you have government and corporate agencies trying to destroy, first of all, not only are they trying to destroy us, they're trying to destroy Afrika Bambaataa. Okay, they're trying to kill him. Now, everybody else that sees Bam as a, Planet Rock and this, that, and the other, I study with Bam. I work with Bam, knew him for 30 years. Okay, these accusations, yo, Bam, you gotta deal with that. And that's my dude, okay? Bam is my friend, that's my dude. You still gonna have to deal with that. Those that study with me, you don't get the headlines, or they, I should say, you don't get the headlines. You know who I am, you know what this is all about, and you also know the principles by which I live by. As we say in the Temple of Hip Hop, you can judge me by this, and this is what I will judge you by. It's not about what I believe or what you believe or what we think or this, that, and the other. To build a culture, we have to establish certain principles that we are not going to go beyond. We have to establish these principles. So this book, The Gospel of Hip Hop, establishes those principles. Those that don't want to have anything to do with this, fine. Nobody's forcing anybody to understand or even be part of this movement. But those that are serious about the preservation of hip hop, the preservation of a real culture, the establishing of a real civilization, that is who I am teaching today.
It's just that it's not mutually exclusive to still cherish Bam and his work and his legacy, right, and show respect until we hear more.
No, then leave hip hop then. See, you still want to use the elements of hip hop, but you don't want to respect the founder of the elements you're using.
That's not disrespect to counter something.
No, yes it is. So we turn to the gospel of hip hop, because those that say that people like me or we are being insensitive to the cries of those against Afrika Bambaataa. No, we're not. We're listening to that very seriously. But here's what people are not looking at very seriously, and it's the gospel of hip-hop. Let me read you page 470 from the gospel of hip-hop. I'm just going to read this through briefly so that you have a clear understanding. This is for temple members, those that study with me. Let us read this together so that we have a clear understanding as to where we're coming from. This book was written in 2009. I started writing it in 1994 when I started to receive certain visions, dreams, basically prophecy. And it wasn't like, oh, I could see the future. No. It's more about a feeling you get of what needs to be said in the present to warn our people in the future. And that's how this book was written, and that's what guides us today. Here's what was written back in 2009, starting from 1994. In this particular lesson, we must never forget that on our quest to establish hip-hop as an autonomous, self-governed community of peace and prosperity, there shall be some who shall consciously and unconsciously seek our demise. Be prepared. They will criticize and even slander your leaders and teachers in their own mass media campaigns. Now stop. This line was written in the 90s when there was no slander, when it was none of that. This is beforehand. This is what you get before the problems and the challenges and the pressures come. They will criticize and even slander your leaders and teachers in their own mass media campaigns. But we must never believe the words of those that have first betrayed the principles of our society or wish to exploit our resources or enslave our children. We must never accept the judgments of those outside of our movement over the words of a true hip-hopper who has committed his or her life to our movement. Let us not be so quick to degrade or abandon our leadership if they stumble and or fall. Let us be even quicker to protect them, lift them up and dust them off with the principles that we have established for ourselves. Reprimand, yes, but never abandon. Question, yes, but never disrespect. Be loyal. Such is the seat of all political power. And this is what I was explaining earlier today in the actual lecture, how other communities, their leaders may do some of the most outrageous things, but they're still the leader. You can debate the leadership, you can criticize, you can discuss, but they're still the leadership. Do you respect your leadership? Every true hip-hopper is responsible for hip-hop. Every true hip-hopper is responsible for hip-hop and for its culture. This includes hip-hop's elements, hip-hop's history, and hip-hop's leadership as well. We are all responsible for each other, including the conduct of our leadership. We hip-hoppers must do everything in our power to keep our leadership honest and focused. If they fail, it is because we have failed. And if they succeed, it is because we have succeeded. Their own people, the leadership's own people, have protected them and lifted them up. Meaning that if our leadership can be snatched by the world, that makes us weak. If we're slandering and disrespecting our leadership, that makes us weak, even if your accusations are true. You don't go about it by telling the whole world your leadership is this and your leadership is that. No, you seek justice internally. You don't you don't slander your culture and the leadership of your culture for your own emotional hurt. What you do is you go directly to the person that hurt you and you seek justice. What you do is you can come to a person like me even and others within the community that teaches hip hop and leads and guides our culture, you can come to anybody like us, bring it up in private, and say, yo, we got a real issue that we got to deal with. And then we as brothers, we as sisters, we as family, we go and we deal with our issues internally. We don't tear down leadership in the public and then expect other people to respect us. They respect their leadership all day while we tearing ours down.